Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakritash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Dawada from the Men of Valor campaign in Greenwood, South Carolina, coming back with another video in sincerity and in truth, and Lord willing to keep edifying. And I have this article right here from The Guardian, and it's titled Peter Thiel's Palantir poses a grave threat to Americans. All right, and they're absolutely on point. If you don't know who Palantir is, all right, Apostle Tahar has even been doing videos on it. I've done a video on it, bringing out information because this isn't a new company. All right, this company has been working in the shadows with the government for, well over a decade, and now they're being pushed to the forefront. Now they're being given autonomy over both the state and the fucking military. All right, AI is your government. This ain't your fucking JFK. Your grandmother's favorite president's government anymore, man. Okay, it's been infiltrated. It's been compromised. All right, your constitution might as well be null and void. And now, like the Apostle Hart did a video, we're living in a technocracy, all right? And this was something that the so-called founding fathers, wanted to fight to pretty much abstain from, all right? But, hey, we're here anyway, all right? And they were able to sneak up in there, all right, through Trump, all right? That's why going back to the inauguration, if you watched it, they had all those tech billionaires. They had the Google CEO, they had Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk was there, and these guys, they run all these social media platforms. They run all this, everything dealing with tech, all right, which now, once again, we're in a technocracy, all right. You had the dot-com bubble boom, and the internet becoming a huge thing, and now you have these guys that have been snuck up in here, and they're taking away your so-called God-given rights, all right? Right under your nose, man. Right under the Trump administration. So let's get into this. It says, draw a circle around all the assets in the U.S. now devoted to artificial intelligence, which they definitely been putting money into it. Draw a second circle around all assets devoted to the U.S. military. And draw a third around all assets being devoted to helping the Trump regime collect and compile personal information on millions of Americans. And a fourth circle around the parts of Silicon Valley dedicated to turning the U.S. away from democracy into a dictatorship led by tech bros, or a technocracy. Where did the four circles intersect? At a corporation called Palantir Technologies and a man named Peter Thiel. And if you don't know who Peter Thiel is, he actually was a close business partner of Elon Musk, and they all used to own it's some other guys as well, but they owned PayPal before they sold PayPal, and they all became billionaires. After that, Elon Musk went on to pretty much become the CEO of Tesla, and then so on and so forth. With Peter Thiel, he started focusing on he might have a hedge fund or something too. He might be in finance, but focus on this Palantir company. It says in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, a Palantir is a seeing stone that can be used to distort truth and present selective visuals of reality. During the War of the Ring, a Palantir falls under the control of Sauron, who uses it to manipulate and deceive. All right, so if you're familiar with Lord of the Rings, that's where they got that word Palantir from. Palantir Technologies bear a striking similarity. It sells an AI-based platform that allows its users, among them military and law enforcement agencies, to analyze personal data, including social media profiles. All right, these are used to identify and surveil individuals. So they already have this in practice. Best believe they're watching us as domestic terrorist threats. They're looking at our social medias. They're seeing, trying to look into our personal lives and see what we're about. All right, and that's why there's been such an emphasis on watching how we move giving no offense that the ministry be not blamed, which they're going to falsely accuse us anyway, but we don't want to give them any ammunition to for them to be able to falsely accuse us. All right, don't move outside of how the Lord has told us to move, and that's why we fashion ourselves like unto our apostles and elders. All right, we ain't out here just out here all willy nilly, man. We pretty much we do the work, we go to work. Go home. You might go to a bar, have a drink or two, might meet up with a chick, but we ain't, doing no weird, weird ass activity, man. All right, because they're watching, and just like they think they're watching us, the Heavenly Father's watching them. But this goes into this God complex that Esau has, man, and they're perfecting it through this AI, all right, which AI is a demon, man, all right, nonetheless, all right, and demon goes into tech intelligence. All right, now this AI shit, it knows the Heavenly Father, it knows Yahweh, it knows about GMS, it knows about the prophets, it knows about the Israelites. It even is starting to expose these 1948ers, man. And if they try to shut the shit off, the shit like reboots, man. All right, because this is the Lord's movie, man. All right, the Lord allowed this AI shit to become a thing. It says, in March, Trump signed an executive order requiring all agencies and departments of the federal government to share data on Americans. To get the job done, Trump chose Palantir Technologies. Palantir is now poised to combine data gleaned from the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Defense, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Social Security Administration, and the Internal Revenue Service, all right, where we pay our taxes and such. Meanwhile, the administration wants access to citizens and others' bank account numbers and medical claims. All right, so they trying to dig all into y'all personal business, man. It says, will the Trump regime use an emergency super database to advance Trump's political agenda, find and detain immigrants, and punish critics? All right, and who would be considered a critic of the Trump regime? Individuals like us, the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Rashad, the prophets of doom, so to speak. All right, which, like Apostle Har was going into, we technically are in violation of sedition, not insurrection, because we're not actually trying to overthrow the government, but we are speaking against the current system and saying that according to the Bible, a Bible which they pray on, according to that said Bible, America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles. All right, that's technically sedition. All right, but nonetheless, it says, will it make it easier for Trump to spy on and target his ever-growing list of enemies and other Americans? We'll soon find out. 13 former Palantir employees signed a letter this month urging the corporation to stop its work with Trump. Linda Shea, I'm gonna say that's how that's said, who was a Palantir engineer until last year, said the problem was not with the company's technology, but with how Trump's administration intended to use it. Combining all that data, even with the noblest of intentions, significantly increases the risk of misuse, she told New York Times. Even some Republicans are concerned. Representative Warren Davidson, a Republican of Ohio, told Semaphore such work could be dangerous when you start combining all these data points on an individual into one database. It really essentially creates a digital ID, and this is what we're moving toward anyway. And it's a power that history says will eventually be abused. Last week, a group of Democratic lawmakers sent a letter to Palantir asking for answers about huge government contracts that the company got. The lawmakers are worried that Palantir is helping make a super database of Americans' private information, and they're doing it, all right, and nobody's stopping them. Behind their worry lie several people who are behind Palantir's selection for the project, starting with Elon Musk. And once again, you got to remember his business partnership with Peter Thiel. It says Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, was behind Palantir's selection. See how he went in there and snuck his homeboy in there? It says at least 3 DOGE members had worked at Palantir, the Times reported, while others had worked at companies funded by Peter Thiel, an investor and founder of Palantir, who still holds a majority stake in it. Till has worked closely with Musk, who devoted $250 million to getting Trump reelected, and then, as head of Doge, helped eviscerate, I think that's that word, swords of government without congressional authority. Yeah, and they did this shit within a couple months. Till also mentored J.D. Vance, who worked for Till at one of his venture funds. Yeah, I knew he was a venture capitalist. Till subsequently bankrolled Vance's 2022 senatorial campaign. Till introduced Vance to Trump and later helped Vance become his vice presidential pick. So this nigga Peter Thiel has been moving in the background and heavily influencing your government, because now your current president, who he backs, and also your vice president, who he mentored at one of his companies, and then helped them get, into become a senator, and then later helped them become the leading bid for the vice presidency, man. All right, so you want to talk about elections and shit, but this is definitely a selection. It's not about what you know, but who you know, and that was something that I learned, even amongst business. They're gonna put their own in there, and they get that shit from them J's, man. All right, from them JOOs, because that's how they move. All right, they're big on helping each other out, and being pretty much in a relatively small club, controlling everything. All right, it says, let's continue on. Till also mentored the billionaire David Sachs, who also worked with Till at PayPal, and it's going all the way back to the early 2000s, man. As a student at Stanford University, Sachs wrote for the Stanford Review, the right-wing student newspaper Till founded as an undergraduate there in 1987. Sachs is now Trump's AI and crypto czar. See how they didn't snuck all these people in there? The CEO of Palantir is Alex Cart, who said on an earning call earlier this year that the company wants to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them. All right, so what happens once you average everyday American becomes an enemy? They can scare the shit out of you, they have all your information, and on occasions they'll kill you. All right, and that's what they're saying. This is public information. All right, while you people are going on with your life thinking everything about to just continue on as normal, they're consolidating all of your data into Palantir, man. And now it has government oversight. Now it has military oversight, because they've assimilated some of these Palantir executives into the U.S. Army. Apostle Harbor's going into that. All right, they've become lieutenant colonels, I believe, which takes years to obtain. So now they have leverage within the U.S. military, man. All right, so what you people gonna fucking do? Palantir recently disclosed that Karp received $6.8 billion in compensation actually paid in 2024. You read that right, making him the highest paid chief executive of a publicly traded company in the United States. A former generation of wealthy U.S. Conservatives backed candidates like Barry Goldwater because they wanted to conserve America's institutions. But this group, Thiel, Musk, Sachs, Karp, and Vance, among others, doesn't seem to want to conserve much of anything, at least not anything that occurred after the 1920s, including Social Security, civil rights, even women's right to vote. It says, as Thiel has written, the 1920s was the last decade in American history during the which one could be genuinely optimistic about politics. Since 1920, the vast increase in welfare and beneficiaries and the extension of the franchise to women, two constituencies that are notoriously tough for libertarians, have rendered the notion of capitalist democracy into an oxymoron. Hello? It says if capitalist democracy is becoming an oxymoron, it's not because of public assistance or because women get the right to vote. It's because billionaire capitalists like Musk and Thiel are intent on killing democracy. Bear with me. We're going to get through this. It says, not incidentally, the 1920s marked the last gasp of the Gilded Age, where American robber barons ripped off so much of the nation's wealth that the rest of the U.S. had to go deep into debt both to maintain their standard of living and to maintain overall demand for the goods and services in the nations produce. When the debt bubble burst in 1929, we got the Great Depression. Benito Mussolini and Adolf Hitler then emerged to create the worst threats to freedom and democracy the modern world had ever witnessed. It says if the U.S. Learned anything from the first Gilded Age and the fascism that grew like a cancer in the 1930s, it should have been the gross inequalities of income and wealth fuel abuses of political power, as Trump, Musk, Thiel, Karp, and other oligarchs have put on full display, which in turn generate strongmen who destroy both democracy and freedom. The danger inherent in Palantir's AI-powered super database on all Americans is connected to the vast wealth and power of those associated with the corporation and their apparent disdain for democracy and democratic institutions. Now, real quick, I'm going to grab a scripture, and we'll read some more. This is Habakkuk chapter 2. In verse 4, it says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. So whose soul is not that's lifted up isn't upright? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, all of these different tech bros that we mentioned, they're Edomites, man. All right, they're not Jakes. All right, they're Edomites. It says, but the just shall live by his faith. Us that are lowly in this situation, all right, the poor of this world, rich in faith, all right, we're going to live by our faith in Yahweh Bashim Al-Bashai, man. We're not worried about them having our information and having shit on us and shit like that, man, because the Lord is going to intervene on our behalf. Why? Because we're putting our necks on the line to push this word. All right, we're doing something that's greater than ourselves. All right, and if the Lord is for us, they can't be against us, man. All right, it's gonna be a snare unto them. Verse 5, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, his philosophy. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. And that's what these damn devils are doing. By them being able to now consolidate, and this ain't talking about some foreign country in their database. This is talking about you everyday American citizens, all right, the land of the free and the home of the brave, so to speak. And they have your data. And now they know what you think. They know your viewpoints. They know where you stand. They know if you like or dislike the current regime that's in charge. They know how you stand. Hey, also, you can't forget, not just America's government, but also their close ties with the nation, the state of Israel. All right, you speak out against them, and Trump, he loves them damn Israelis, man. All right, he got his daughter all married off to him and shit, man. All right, so if you speak out against them, they can cut your water off, man. All right. So they're trying to heap unto them all nations and all people. And ultimately, them ushering in this digital age, all right, where they try to mesh you with machine, all right, they're going to try to put a C-hip in you, which is the fulfillment of Revelation, the 13th chapter, all right, in the MOTB, this is where we're leading to, all right under you people's noses, all right, no, it hasn't been a true revolt or anything yet, man. You people are still trusting in your daddy Esau, and you don't even see what's going on. All right, but as watchmen of Yahweh Shema Shai, hey, if the Lord has put the Spirit on us to understand this information and the grave danger that's set before us, all right, we have to blow the trumpet, man. And that's why I'm doing this video. If you want to go and watch something on black culture and what Cardi B and Stephon Diggs got going on, then go watch that shit. This is actual information, that isn't going to be around very long, man. All right, and you don't even understand the rise of this Palantir company, man. All right, and they've been moving silently in the background for over a decade, and now they're being pushed to the forefront because now they have the power that they need. All right, I'll get this scripture right quick. Micah chapter 2 and verse 1, it says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds." Man, this is some evil shit they're doing. It says, "When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand." Right? They have the power and authority to do this now. So they're doing it. Verse 2, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage." All right? So let's go back. It says, "Had you walked to the end of Trump's military birthday parade and gazed about above the president's viewing stand, you have seen a giant video board, an advertisement for Palantir, one of the chief sponsors of the event. Tolkien's Palantir fell upon the control of Sauron. Steele's Palantir is falling under the control of Trump. How this story ends up to how this story ends is up to all of us." It says, "At this dangerous moment for dissent." I hope you appreciate this article, because you before you close the tab, I wanted to ask you if you could support what's this? Oh, that's the editorial. Salakia. All right, so yeah, that was the end of the article. All right. So, they're basically marking the dangers of this, company, and how they've consolidated, that's what happened when Doge got up in there with Elon Musk, and they started getting rid of cutting all these different systems. They're creating the government to be able to run with less. All right, they don't need all these federal workers and shit if they can have a supercomputer being able to already consolidate all your data, whether it be your tax revenue, whether it be your health care, status and shit, your political views. All right, they can scope out domestic terrorists or what they claim to be domestic terrorists, domestic threats, anybody that's speaking against them. All right, so they haven't pulled the trigger and used it yet, but best believe when they do, they're going to be able to track you people down. He also talked about using it to track so-called illegals. All right, that's trouble upon the Northern Kingdom, man. They're going to be able to pull up where the fuck y'all at, man. All right, and it's already coming out that they loading them up on cargo ships and dumping their ass out in the sea, man. We are in Jacob's trouble. All right, make no mistake about it. It's going to intensify, though. And this Palantir company is a publicly traded company, and they've taken over. They've taken over, man. All right, so let's get this right quick. Because these are very dangerous times that we're living in right now. This is Ezekiel chapter 21 and verse 8. "Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord. Say, a sword is sharpened, and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree." So the swords are being sharpened, man. Once again, Palantir is now a part of the U.S. military. All right, and they're going to turn the military on you U.S. citizens, man. They're doing a coup right now. The Trump regime is technically doing a coup right as we fucking speak, man. And it's such a funny situation because it's not Kamala Harris that's in there, it's Trump in there, and most of these people voted to get Trump up in there. So now you damn Edomites are looking crazy. You stuck in fear. Y'all still trying to trust in Trump. And you northern tribes that you Latinos for Trump, now you looking real fucking goofy, man. The Lord said, "Woe to the rebellious house," saith the Lord. It says, verse 11, and he have given it to be furbished that it may be handled. The sword is sharpened and is furbished to give into the hand of the slayer. Who is the slayer? Esau, Edom, man. He's that red horse, and power was given unto him to take peace from the earth. This devil ain't gonna do shit but what he was supposed to do, and that's take peace from the earth, man. They come down with that great wrath. We'll finish here. Because we about to see them use this Palantir, man. They're going to release these robots. They're going to release these, hey, they can send fucking airstrikes, man. That's what they've been doing in Gaza. They can send airstrikes through Palantir. They call it Lavender over there. That's the AI that they use. But they're using AI as part of warfare now, man, to send fucking strikes. None of you damn niggas have an answer for that. Okay? You don't have a solution to deal with this issue. Our only solution over here is to trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But you niggas don't even want to believe in the truth, man. You don't even want to remember who you are. You rather stay asleep. And that's going to be a detriment to you. This is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Let's finish off here. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. This devil's time is short, man. So he's pulling all the stops. Palantir has completely completely consolidated your private information, consolidated government power, and military control. And if you don't want to fucking believe it, oh well, man. But it's happening. It's happening right as we fucking speak, man. If the Lord don't come and shorten the days, no flesh shall be saved. Because anybody that speaks out against this devil, they're going to be able to find your ass, man. But the Lord going to stop them. The Lord is going to lift up that standard, man. This is why spiritual power is going to be needed. Because they're definitely going to be able to locate us. And guess what? When you arrive, you might be able to come and take some of us, but you're not taking all of us, man. The Lord is going to lift that standard up. The Spirit of the Lord is going to mightily come upon certain men. And they're going to beat your ass to powder, man, to a pulp. That's thus said the Lord, thus said the Bible. All right, but this devil's coming down, man. So, Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makar. And again, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Till next time, shalom.